Have you experienced the awesome power of the Panasonic Real 3DO system? Obviously.
Presenting 3DO, the most advanced home gaming system in the universe. It's time to put away your toys.
3DO from Panasonic, Gold Star, and Creative Labs. A new low price and free games.
Mind-blowing graphics of Panasonic Real 3DO. 3DO.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the 3DO Experience, the 3DO retrospective podcast where we talk about all things 3DO, the 3DO company, and everything in between. And this one's about to get trippy. I am Bill, and this is Thrak. How you doing, Thrak?
I'm getting better. I don't sound as sickly as I have. I'm still coughing, but not nearly as much. I'm still pouring mucus out like a fucking disgusting sink, but you know, I'm getting there. A quick life update, because I think this happened before the last episode. I got a new job.
Woohoo!
So the last day at my current position is the 31st of July. So which will be, I think, when next week's episode comes out. So I'm trying to keep my head down and just hoping I can survive these remaining days at work. I'm hanging in there. How are you, Bill?
Yes, I'm doing great. I had one of those days where I swear to God, everybody like woke up on the wrong side of the bed and was just fucking miserable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so that was fun. I blew up at a coworker at the end of the day. That was great.
Hell yeah. I will say today, we'll go off topic a little bit. No one was bothering me that much, so I went down a bit of the podcasting rabbit hole, and I caught up on some podcasts. Everybody's fucking talking about me and talking about me being like a rival to Quest and all this like Nemesis shit. I don't know what the hell's going on. So I listened to the Castlevania episode, which was fun. I forgot half the shit we said, so it was great.
It's so good.
And then I listened to the new episode with Quest about the RPGs, which was an interesting episode. And then he mentioned I was his rival or something. So I went back, listened to the episode you and Bill and Quest did with Nave. I listened to that a little bit.
Where Nave played the wrong game.
Yeah, naturally. That was fun. And then I haven't caught up on gaming and collecting. So I listened to you guys talk to Jerry about about the PS2 for a really long time.
And he drove Alex, and Alex drove him fucking mental.
Like about usual. The N64, yeah. See, I am in Alex's corner about the N64, but I have a more nuanced take on it. You know? Yeah. So it's not just I hate the controller. I mean, the controller isn't great, but that's far from its issues. But I will say a lot of my ness towards the N64 is perspective. You know, I didn't get to it till after the GameCube. After the 360 even. So going back that far, you know, it definitely hurt my perception. I feel like a lot of people like the N64 because it was like, oh, that was the thing I played as a kid. That's why I like it, you know, and they hold on to it, you know?
Yeah.
But anyways, enough of this bullshit. We need to introduce our guest.
Yeah. The video listeners are probably like, who's that guy in the corner that's not saying anything?
If you're watching this, you know who he is. You know who he is.
Yeah. He was on a previous episode, and he's also the founder of our network that we're now a part of. We got Aaron from SuperPod Network, SuperPod Saga, Retro Rehab. Eventually, he's just going to be on Super Ghost Radio at some point.
He's our overlord.
I am on an upcoming episode of Super Ghost, so that's basically man.
See,
all consuming.
Me and Jerry joked about that when we were talking. We were saying at some point, those are just going to all be the same podcast, just at the same time.
That's
SuperPod Ghost Saga Radio Rehab.
That rolls
2K6.
Right off the tongue.
2K6.
It's beautiful.
The Mike, Quest 64 Mike was like he was kind of going in the same thing. Or holy shit! What am I trying to say? He was suggesting the same thing too. He was like, "Why don't you guys just merge the shows into one, like especially Super Ghost?" And I mean, Retro Rehab is just all retro gaming, and SuperPod Saga is like everything, and then Super Ghost is also everything. I don't know. Yeah, they're good shows. Yeah.
See, I made the joke on the episode saying, because me and Jerry were joking about how we're all on 3 podcasts, and I joked how I have 3 very different co-hosts, and then Jerry was like, yeah, and I just have Aaron.
That son of a bitch.
He's like 3 co-hosts put together, though.
That was funny though. I didn't think about that at the time. I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's cool though. Like this network's pretty cool. Holy fuck. God damn. Sorry, that snow cone really bogged up my system, man. Listeners, I'm eating a kiwi snow cone from the Jasper County Fair. If you're ever I almost said Iowa. If you're ever in Iowa, hit me up and I'll buy you a $5 snow cone. It's outrageous.
If you do enough drugs, it becomes Iowa.
That's true. That's true. We do have a lot of meth here in Iowa. Not that I've partaken, but the
allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. Yeah, this network is cool because like I've met Matt now. Matt's pretty fucking cool. The Geek Addicts Matt is. I've known Stormageddon Matt for a long time. I kind of know Alex now, kind of.
One of these days, like you two will cross paths. It's like she seems to like always dodge.
And yeah, everybody else. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah, so it's like we're doing a pod with the CEO.
Shit. I mean, I just fuck with the website constantly. I wouldn't say I'm a CEO. I'll be on a call at work and I'll be like, dude, this guy won't shut the fuck up. He won't stop talking. Maybe I should just dick with the website and see what I can make look better or like not clunky. And then, but yeah.
I love the fact that like I discovered how to do GIFs and then like an hour later you had GIFs on your page as well.
Yeah, I was like, Bill, God damn it, you're not gonna upstage me with the GIFs. And then I just picked a random one and put it in there. The Dude Meyer one's really cool though.
Praise the Dude Meyer. Oh boy. Yeah, before we got sidetracked there though, I was gonna say I went to a convention over the weekend.
Ooh.
I always forget that like conventions are at times like the one time of the year a lot of people leave their homes and they like don't understand how to function in society because oh boy, sometimes I am like these people never leave their homes.
Was that a smelly convention? Is that what you're trying to say?
Not as bad as they can be. They're actually kind of cracking down on that lately.
Oh, thank fuck.
It's about time.
The best cosplay I've ever seen was like a guy legit cosplayed as a speed stick, and he was just passing out deodorant to people.
Good man.
That's
fucking
awesome.
Though speed stick is the worst deodorant, but still it's a step above what they smell like.
He wasn't
my dad's been using speed stick for the better part of like 27 years.
Yeah, my dad too.
Yeah,
oh
mine
shit.
Probably is.
I'm an Old Spice guy.
And
Same.
Brute. Speed stick and Brute.
Yeah, Brute.
Yep.
Yeah, old man shit.
Yeah, it's just funny though. Like, ironically, it wasn't that. It was more just like some people just have no concept of personal space. Like, period. These days,
I bet.
Just be glad you weren't a woman.
Oh man.
Fair.
Did Alex get out of it unscathed?
Yeah, she's like good about that stuff.
Good.
She knows how to function in public.
I feel like if need be, Alex could like really, she could tap into her inner psycho and just like really scare somebody off.
Just chuck a frozen water bottle at their head.
Yeah, or a kiwi snow cone because
There
it's
you
fucking
go.
me up. Yeah.
A frozen water bottle that has kiwi snow cone in it.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it increases its strength stat by like 2%.
I did.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I did find out though, like the unfortunate thing about being a game collector for like going on almost 2 decades now is like you go to like I know.
Sorry.
You go to the game booths and like you'll look through the stuff and you'll be like, have it. Too expensive, have it. It's like
You probably have more debt than the U.S. government.
Yeah. I did find Stella Glow though, so
nice.
that was a fun one.
Yeah, that game fucking slaps. That game is so good.
I do not know that game.
It was the last game made by, I'm gonna butcher it. I think it's like Image Epoch,
Yeah.
Image Potch. I don't know.
Yeah, the developer best known for making Luminous Arc, but they also made
Yep.
Criminal Girls, which is a wonderful Vita game.
Man, I think it wasn't this past weekend, but a weekend before, we went down to visit a buddy in Sioux City, and we went to a couple retro game stores, and I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be awesome! I'm gonna find like at least one treasure up in this bitch." And then like everything was in a display case. Anything that wasn't like EA Sports fucking 97 or like Madden 2007 was in a display case, and it's tough. It's tough out here for a playa or something.
Yeah, that's the issue with
A
like
video
retro
game playa.
with retro stores is they all have a different way of organizing their games. Like there's one that I've been going to a lot more frequently, and like say certain consoles they'll have everything out for, right? So say like Xbox games, they have like 2 shelves full of them, and it's great. Like, and they're all like, even the expensive ones are like all right there. But then say their GameCube collection is all in one of those like glass display boxes.
Yep.
You know, so it's like it's weirdly inconsistent. Like there are some places that will have the cases out. They'll go like grab the disc. They'll go into the mysterious back room.
Yeah.
You know, they all have their own weird thing and kind of what I guess they define as like, you know, rare or common or whatever. And yeah, it's an issue. You know, I mean, it's cool. You know, say
protect those assets, man.
I mean, yeah,
expensive ones.
Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do. So it's just funny seeing like a GameCube game that's like kind of common and not that pricey sitting there with like, oh, Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. It's like $140, and then it's like NBA Live 06 is like right there, and it's like $20, and it's like, why is this $20?
Because GameCube.
Yeah, for real.
GameCube-flation. It is a real thing.
Before I die, like no matter how I'm going out, if I get a Make-A-Wish or like any kind of final wish, I'm gonna hold in my hands a physical copy of Symphony of the Night from on PlayStation 1. I want to hold that in my hand and like kind of caress it a little bit. But
I had one.
I mean, if you ever visit me in New England, you can hold mine for a few minutes.
Oh, dude,
I had one. I bought it. I remember a long time ago. I bought it. It was like $25. Like it wasn't expensive at all, but the jewel case was like cracked on it, so it wasn't in the best of shape. But I did have one, and it has that. And I don't like the North American cover art. It's lame as shit.
Yeah, where it's just the castle and it's like black and
it's boring. I like the one that's
the Saturn cover art is amazing.
Yeah, the Saturn cover art's amazing, but the one I like is I think it's the European PS1 one that has a Alucard holding the sword like super close.
Yeah, dude.
Like I think he's smelling the crossguard. That's what it looks like.
Ooh,
that one's cool.
Peach scented. Bill, you
smell
can
like blood.
You can cut this out, but like, what state do you live in, or like, I'm googling it. I'm not like, I don't.
Everybody knows it.
Yeah, okay.
He's trying to dox you.
Most people know I'm up in New England, so.
But like, what state? Like, isn't New England like the whole area, or
Connecticut? So.
Okay, I'm gonna look this up.
Yeah,
New
England.
Far away I am.
Yeah, New England is composed of Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, Vermont. I think they'd even throw Maine in there.
Yeah,
it's that whole area, like Massachusetts Bay, Cape Cod, and then you go further up. You know, even the good section of Maine that's off the grid.
Actually, wait, that's not bad. 18 hours. That's not bad. That's still.
You
what
can
am I trying to say? That's still closer than like Nevada or Colorado or California.
Mm-hmm. You could probably hit my house on the way.
Oh, hang on. Let me see. That goes like right through Ohio. I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right up the tippy top. Yeah. Okay.
Well, I'm not the tippy top, but you know, I'm a bit south.
Yeah. No, I've made it pretty obvious. I'm from Connecticut. I mean, the convention we went to was called Connecticon. So,
oh shit. We're going to an anime convention, or we're going to. It's called Anime Iowa. We're going to that this weekend for my 12-year-old, like my 12-year-old's birthday present. I'm going as Jotaro from JoJo. Hey,
That fits you.
yeah, I was like, who do you want to be from One Piece, Aaron? And I was like, I don't really know. And then I was just scrolling through Amazon for all the different costumes, and I was like, oh, bitch, this Jotaro costume looks sweet. It looks crunk, as the kids might say.
Yes.
Do the kids say it? Okay.
A long time ago, I think when we were kids.
Yeah, I think that's like an old slang term now at this point. When I hear children talk, they're talking another language half the time. I swear.
Oh, sorry, I meant to say that was very skibbity. There we go.
Whatever. Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know.
I watched. I think I watched like 50 episodes of Skibbity Toilet, and I was like, okay, I think I get this now.
Do you though? Like
it's their like source filmmaker weird shit. Like it's not that far off from like Soup Store or like the giant Thomas the Tank Engine robot, like all that weird source filmmaker shit during the Machinima era. It's basically them discovering source filmmaker and being like, oh, we can do something fucking weird with it. And it just has devolved into this weird fucking deep lore shit that like I don't fucking care about. Like I watched 50 episodes, seems like a lot, but that was like maybe an hour of it. And that was like, I'm like, I've seen enough. I'm good now. My curiosity has been checked. I'm fine, you know? And it's fine. Like it's not the weirdest thing I've ever seen. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen like kids get into, you know, because sometimes they'll, like when it comes to language, they'll say certain things. It's like, oh, you don't know where that's from. You clearly don't, and it's not great, you know.
It's kind of like how our generation we had like AMVs and stuff, and like that was the big thing on the internet. And then
yeah, like edited clips of One Piece to like Linkin Park music or Bleach or whatever.
Oh,
so it was,
dude, yeah.
People got so hype.
Oh, yeah,
End of the world.
Any anime with like alt metal, new metal, like alternative music, basically. Like,
yeah.
So many compilations of Sonic X with fucking Animal I've Become, because why not?
He's an animal.
Yeah.
Oh,
a lot of 30 Seconds to Mars as well.
Yeah, I was the kill.
I totally forgot about that newest episode of Geek Addicts where you guys talk about like your favorite anime intros and shit. I was just about to fucking listen to that, but I hope Mob Psycho 100 is in there somewhere because that intro fucking stomps. Holy shit.
I honestly don't remember.
We need to do like a network special, like our favorite anime intros, because there's a lot of like really, really good ones that I don't ever talk about on the show because I haven't watched anime in a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've killed a good 18 minutes.
Sorry.
I mean, we could keep going.
Yeah, please, Betty, sponsor us.
That's actually pretty good for us. We've done like a half an hour where we didn't even talk about the topic once.
Well, that's usually when there's like, say, some big gaming news going on, and I feel the need to talk about it. You know, like I never talked about the Game Pass pricing stuff because who the fuck cares?
Yeah, like I think the biggest news that dropped today was like Humble Games closed.
Yeah, I saw that. That sucked.
That does suck.
Yeah, and we found out what MEO was, and I was a bit disappointed.
Yeah, like it's kind of cool, but it's not what I was expecting. I was really hoping for like a cool first party, not Famicom Detective Club fucking horror game. But
I mean, I'm okay with Famicom Detective Club coming back. That's great, and I hear good things about those games. I'm not shitting on them. It's just the initial advertisement. I was hoping for something a bit more actiony.
Yeah,
you know, that's all. But this is what it is.
It's not custom robo. Son of a bitch.
I don't know if that'll ever come back, Aaron.
No, that's in like purgatory with like Ape Escape and Jack and Daxter and just franchises that are never coming back no matter what.
Sly Cooper.
There's at least like hope on that one that Sucker Punch might care.
Well, they do care. They just don't have time.
I know.
You know, like Sly Cooper, it's not a 0% chance, but I want it, so it's never gonna happen. You know,
I know Jack and Daxter's a 0% chance because like they straight up just admitted they don't know how to make a new one, so that's why The Last of Us happened.
That's man.
They don't know how to make good games anymore, so they just make The Last of Us.
Just
The Last of Us started as a Jack and Daxter game, and then they like got through and they forgot that they
What the
they,
fuck?
they like didn't know how to
Daxter's
make it.
fucking dead.
Imagine the golf club scene, and it's just Jack,
He's just beating it.
and Daxter's pinned to the floor, and he's got like blood coming out of his mouth.
Now let's be
No,
real.
Jack, say something.
Let's be real. Daxter would be the one with the golf club.
Dude,
Daxter
No,
would-
Daxter's like the Ellie, and then Jack is the Joel, and then I don't know who. It would just be Abby, like just straight up Abby.
Yeah.
Oh man, I
And
don't
then,
know why.
what does Jack say in the opening of Jack 2? He's like, "I'm gonna kill those fuckers."
I'm gonna.
or something.
No, he said, "I'm gonna kill Praxis." Like
That-
his first,
yeah, it's the first thing he ever
words in the
says.
series.
Yeah, good shit.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, Sly's trapped in the fucking desert still.
Oh, I wrote a blog about this. Surprise, surprise. But
Mr.
There-
Blog
there's-
over here,
yeah, dude,
like
there's
it's 1998.
I have a lot of cool ideas that are too short to put into an episode of SuperPod or something. But
Yeah, fair enough.
yeah, custom robo would be fucking perfect. Make it huge online multiplayer arenas. You could do all sorts of cool Nintendo crossover shit. Have like Mario mech shit. Have Samus shit. Have all sorts of shit, and it'd just be so cool, man. Bring custom robo back.
See, I love that idea, but it requires having a strong online infrastructure and Nintendo, and that just
yeah.
those two don't exist, unfortunately. I
It's
mean, I know
impossible.
Splatoon's hanging in there, as far as I know.
I heard Splatoon
But-
3's coming to the end of its life cycle, though.
Already?
Really?
Didn't it just come
Already?
out like last year?
Yeah,
Or was it the year
I-
before?
It was like 2 years ago, I think.
I'll have to re-look into that, but I heard it's already like at the end apparently.
Like,
so-
did people not latch onto it?
I don't know because it seems like it's still popular. I mean, I'm not a Splatoon fan. I like it, but I'm not. I
Dude,
don't like competitive games.
Well,
like that.
I know when
If I had more friends, I'd play
Splatoon,
more Splatoon.
like I know when
or more.
Splatoon 2 came out, that was like right at the start of the Switch. And then when they announced Splatoon 3, a lot of people were like, why would you do this? Splatoon 2 is already on the Switch. You know, like Splatoon would be just one of those one a console kind of
Yeah,
games. But
just make more content for Splatoon 2. Like that's just
yeah.
fucking.
I mean,
it's
I know
so obvious.
Splatoon 3, they tried to have more of a single player campaign attached to it, like the Octo expansion from 2, which people really liked, but I think people were disappointed by the single player content in this one.
Yeah.
But you know, yeah, I've tried Splatoon, it's perfectly fine, but my competitive online days are behind me, so
Yeah, I see the appeal. It's just like you can only bully kids for so long before you just get bored. With it. So
my son asks me to get Splatoon so we could play it all the time, and I always tell him, I'm like, it's
like
not
when
happening.
Fall Guys came out and like literally like the only fun of Fall Guys for like the first month was just bullying all the kids who didn't know how to play video games.
Yeah,
That
I
was
mean, Fall Guys would be a fun game to play in the Discord.
Oh yeah, I'd buy it again.
that
and
would be
play it.
cool.
Yeah,
What
Actually,
do you
I
mean
think it's-
buy it? It's free.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot.
I was gonna say
better.
my favorite game to bully kids in is Pokemon Unite because it's always all these little tiny baby kids who are like, "Oh, it's a free Pokemon game. I'm gonna download it because it's free," and then they get fucking annihilated by my expert fucking platinum god tier level Mamoswine plays, and then, oops, sorry.
you're like, stay away from Snowcone 69. He's ruthless.
No, code 69.
Uh,
Change my Discord name.
do it. But yeah. So we should probably talk about our 3DO game for this episode. It's kind of trippy. Yeah.
It's a thing.
Trippy.
Tripped, yeah. I don't have a physical. I probably could have got one. I don't think it's an expensive game, but
This was like $20.
yeah, but
Oh,
I
that's
don't
not
think
bad.
well, because you know we did the last episode not that long ago, and I think the amount of time it would have taken to get here, I wouldn't have had enough time to like actually play the physical, so it would have just went up on the I've played it pile.
Yeah. This is a puzzle game for anyone who doesn't know it. This one was actually requested by Aaron, so that's kind of how we got into this.
That's why he's here.
Yep.
I'm only here if I can demand a game.
The game So the game itself, we'll get into it as we go along, but the game itself is it's a decent puzzler, but there's a lot behind this game's like development and like backstory that I find pretty amusing. Like, so I guess we should get into it. This game was created by Warp, who longtime listeners of the podcast will recognize as the same studio that made D. I think our first like Universal, like we hated it kind of game on the show.
I think so, yeah.
It was the first game created by Warp, spearheaded by Kenji Ito, I believe his name is, or Ino?
Kenji Ino.
Ino,
Yes.
who is more of a composer than a game dev, weirdly enough.
I mean, his name's Eno. Put them
True.
together, right? Yeah, yeah.
So what's funny is there's no composer listed for this game, so I'm just kind of assuming that Eno probably did the music.
I think so. I believe he's credited with the music on, I think, most of Warp's games.
He did all of them except for he didn't do Enemy Zero. Enemy Zero had a different composer, which I find fascinating.
That is interesting. But yeah, I'm pretty sure he did the music for this. It makes sense. And the game does have a bit of I wouldn't say a music theme, but it has a bit of a focus on music.
So one fun thing I found out was the cover for this game is kind of a clusterfuck of just shit thrown all over the cover.
Oh,
The
God.
90s.
So apparently that was intentional. Kenji Ino's like a legitimate like words when they were designing word, just throw a bunch of shit on it and then send it out.
I mean, it catches your eye.
It does. It is a very
Yeah, the
trippy
little
looking
bat
cover.
dude. Yeah.
And the other
long box
trivia
cover is pretty cool too.
And the one other trivia piece that I found really interesting is the reason the game is called Tripped is it's actually a play on 3DO founder Trip Hawkins.
That is a very
That's
weird
cool.
thing. That's like an inside joke.
Yeah, I read that. I was like, yeah, okay. That if any other developer, I'd be like, that's a little weird. But this is Kenji Ino, and he's kind of weird. So
Yeah, he falls very much in line with those esoteric Japanese developers, like a Kojima or somebody, but he never got that kind of success to really do the kind of crazy vision games that he always wanted to do,
Well, the problem was a lot of his games, like he had big visions, but like the games either didn't come out outside of Japan or they were just so obscure. Like one of my favorite games he designed is a game called Real Sound Kaze no Regret, which is a purely audio based game. Like there's no graphics at all. It is strictly audio. It is an interesting idea. Unfortunately, it's Japan only, so it's not the easiest thing to play. But I just find it fascinating.
He's kind of like Yoko Taro, but without the big studio square behind him to really help push for the ideas. Because I feel like that's the issue with Eno, is that he never attached himself to a Capcom or a Konami or a Sega, like a big company that like would cradle his sort of artistic ambition. He always just was kind of on his own, and being an independent game developer back then, I had to be like very, very difficult to like really get through, because he would flourish more now. Like if he was making games now, he would be like a cult sensation, I think. Just putting random shit out on Steam and just letting people discover it organically,
So I have to ask Aaron, why this game? just curious.
So the last episode that we did together, I already forget what was the game again?
Triple Threat Shanghai.
Yeah,
the fucking mahjong game.
Yeah, okay. So I'm a big fucking nut for puzzle games, mostly like the falling block like arcade style puzzle games.
Me too.
And the last episode we did, I think I was going through a list of different puzzle games on the 3DO. Then Tripped was the only other one on there, so I was like, all right, that's me. Let's do it. And the cover looked cool. The little bat dude on it, I love him.
It is an eye-catching cover. What's funny is I remember when we started this, we had initially said we're probably not going to cover the puzzle games just because how much is there actually to say, and then of course we immediately broke that like within like a few months. Ironically, because you really wanted to cover them, and we were like, fine, let's do it.
I mean, it gave us a reason that rather than just kind of bundle them all in like one kind of puzzle mega cut,
Yeah, like we did with the golf games.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because like, how much more can you do with golf? Like, I feel like there's probably
Like,
a lot more you could do with a falling block puzzle game than you could golf. Because it's just like swing, ball, hole. That's golf.
I mean, there's a lot of interesting things you can do with golf games. It's just none of the 3DO ones really do. Like none of them are like what the golf.
Oh yeah,
You
what the
know,
golf or
Golf
curse
with
to golf.
friends.
Golf with friends.
golf with your friends, or even like a golf story. Where you could
Yep.
get more out of it. There just wasn't much to get out of those golf games, unfortunately. But it is what it is.
This game came out in 1994 in Japan and then 95 in North America. It also had a PlayStation release, which I did not realize until doing research, but it was only in Japan.
That probably would have been way easier to emulate.
Probably.
Probably, yeah.
So before we get into the game, I wanted to let you guys talk about that because apparently emulating this game kind of sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 3DO emulation, I think in general is kind of iffy. Like I would say it's figured out for the most part, but it doesn't have the same enthusiasts, market for it the same way, say like a PlayStation or like a Sega Saturn. Like I've seen Sega Saturn emulation completely improve drastically. It's still not perfect, but it's a lot better than it was, say, like 10 years ago. But 3DO, most games run just fine, and if you have the Opera emulator and RetroArch, you should be okay. It's funny that I think there's like half a dozen games in the core options that's like, if you're playing this game, flick this switch and it'll fix it, which I think is amazing.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Yeah, there's maybe a technical side to it, I don't know, but I was playing this game, right, and it was running just fine for the most part, but whenever you would level up in the one-player mode, the level up for some reason took forever. Like it slowed down drastically. The rest of the game run at full speed, but for some reason this wouldn't. And I messed with all the settings I could to try to like fuck with it. I even downloaded a dedicated 3DO emulator called the 4DO.
Oh yeah.
Which is better than the one in RetroArch, but it's not like the big PEMU Jaguar emulator that's kind of separate from Virtual Jaguar. That one's perfect. Like if you want to emulate Jaguar games, get the big PEMU. Every game is like
PEMU.
Big PEMU, yeah. For some reason, the desktop icon is like a picture of a baby, and I'm like, is that the picture of like the guy who made it? Is that like his kid? Like it's weird. That's weird.
Very weird.
It's why it's not on my desktop. But like all those games run like 100% perfectly. Even like Jaguar CD runs perfectly. It's kind of amazing. So, but I went into 4DO, right? And I was still trying to figure out like what the issue was. And I think I figured it out. And that is when you try to overclock the 3DO's CPU, which most emulators do, for some reason this game causes that slowdown. So in 4DO, I just reset it to just like normal clock running speed, and 4DO is perfect.
Okay.
So were you emulating this on your PC or on your
my laptop? Oh, this guy, I don't know if this guy could run 3DO.
Okay, it's weird because
it like weirdly enough, it's so weird. When I got this, it had PSP in it, and I tried messing with the PSP, and it was shoddy at best. You know?
Some games.
Yeah,
some
PS1 is
better than others.
PS1 is fine on here. Anything below PS1 is perfectly fine, but I don't get too crazy. Like right now, I'm playing Master System games on this.
Hell yeah!
So yeah, as Master of Darkness, pretty cool game. If you ever wondered what if Sega made a Castlevania game, it's called Master of Darkness. Check it out.
Yeah.
Anyways, Tripped. If you're having issues emulating it, set the clock speed to just like standard, and that should fix it just fine, hopefully. But
otherwise, if you're playing it on an old Anbernic, you're gonna have totally different fucking problems. I did not have that level up problem at all. My biggest problem was like when I would pause the game and leave it paused for longer than like 10 seconds. If I try to unpause it, the game would freeze. Eventually, it would unfreeze, but then there'd be no more audio for the rest of the game. I'd have to restart the game or back out of it completely and then go back into it. Another thing would be that, like, it's either when you get a level up or just like, well, does the audio play on a loop on like the actual 3DO version, like where it stops
Yes.
after a while? Okay. So I guess that's not a maybe I wasn't having an issue. Maybe it was just like when it's paused, it would reach the end of the loop and then it would come back again. I don't know. Yeah, I just had to download.
The cut
Yeah.
isn't the best for the audio loop, I will say.
It's
You'd be amazed at how many CD-based games struggle with like audio loops, or like you can hear when the cut happens
like
and when
Grandia
it goes
2.
through. Yeah, you can definitely hear it. You know,
So
it's
I
just-
will say the kind of insane janky style that this soundtrack goes for kind of gets away with it. Because after a while you stop noticing it, but like it is a little the looping cut is not great on the
Mhm.
soundtrack.
And Aaron, for the Ambernick version that you had, does that Ambernick run? Does it have like, say, how mine you can use it through RetroArch or through like its own dedicated like emulator or whatever?
Well, one sec, my 3-year-old says his shirt is ruined. What, buddy?
Oh no!
Oh, it's all wet. Oh, did you spill your snow cone on it? You got a snow cone too.
Oh boy!
Oh,
Snow cone accident.
There you go, buddy. It's okay. Go get on your shirt. What were you saying though? Sorry.
So when you were emulating on your Ambernick, were you doing it through RetroArch or just through like the I think it's called the game rooms or whatever?
No, mine was through RetroArch. I think there's only the one core for it in RetroArch. And
Yeah,
like
Opera.
for the longest time, I could not get the game to run. Like if I would start the game and go to a black screen and then just sit there until I closed out of it and restarted it. So I had to download the BIOS files like numerous times and place them in different spots to see what would work.
Yeah.
Eventually it worked. I have like 5 copies of the BIOS files in like 4 different folders, but it works.
And it works on one of them, but you'll never know which one. Yeah, thankfully, as far as I know, with RetroArch, when it comes to the BIOS stuff, if you just throw it in the system folder, you're fine.
Yeah.
Like that's just where it'll read it. I have it for the FC1 and the FC10, just in case, because I think there are some 3DO games you try to emulate them, they want the FC1, not the FC10, to run properly. It's for some reason weirdly odd like that, but that's emulation for you. It's just kind of odd.
It's kind of gotten better though. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess going into it now, like the gameplay itself, is the best way to describe it. It's kind of like a match 3 puzzler.
It's a match 4.
Yeah, that basically that kind of style where it's like it's kind of like columns or like maybe like a Puyo Puyo in a sense.
I would say Puyo Puyo is the closest connection to it, because Puyo Puyo is also match 4, and this
Okay.
kind of follows that template with like, you know, having the different color graphic representations and having kind of that like funky aesthetic to it. But I don't think the puzzle gameplay in this is as consistently strong as say a Puyo Puyo. But you can tell like that's its main influence.
Yeah.
But like with Puyo Puyo, you only have the 2 beans that you can flip around. This you always get the 3, and you can do say that the 2 different L's, or like kind of lay it flat or straight up. You know, you get a lot of different options when they're falling, which means the game has to play a lot slower, which is fine. But with puzzle games, especially when you play them enough and you get good at them, you kind of want to get faster at it. And the game, it feels like it's not encouraging you to get faster, you know, because nothing about the game is speed. You know, it's just trying to. It's slow, and it's a shame because it kind of clashes with its like edgy 90s attitude in your face, bro. Like it kind of conflicts with that, you know.
Now it does have. Oh, go on.
I was gonna say there's like 5 different positions each group of 3 blocks can have, and that's really fucking annoying because if you miss the one you're trying to get to, you have to keep tapping the button over and over and over again.
Yeah, like
too late.
Like I think that's like a Tetris influence as well, like having the different like being able to mess with the different blocks, but it just doesn't work the same as like Tetris. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It does have one particular gimmick that I did find somewhat interesting, where So if you line up 4 blocks in a cube formation, they'll actually merge into a giant cube that, if you're not careful, this can fuck you like really, really hard.
Yeah.
Especially the green ones. The green ones are dangerous as fuck, I found out.
Yeah.
So basically what happens is they'll merge into one big square, and then that big square will basically remain on the screen until you get another chain of the smaller ones.
But not another block.
Well, yeah, if you get another block, then you get 2 big blocks.
Yeah.
The thing that's really nice though is, the way I discovered the dangers of the green block were I literally managed
green block.
So I literally managed to get like 5 big green blocks on the screen somehow. And I was like, all right, I need to really get rid of these. And I had forgotten that the green block has an effect where when you take out a giant green block, it drops an entire row of blocks on the screen just randomly. And I found out if you do a big chain and get 5 green blocks in a row, you get a big bonus, but then it will drop 5 rows of full blocks on you at once. And
oh boy,
it is dangerous.
Yeah, like the only incentive for doing the blocks is that you get like an extra bonus when you set up for your combos. But with how slow the game is, it's really hard to set up those combos, because you almost set up the combos saying the way you would with like Puyo Puyo, you know, where if you really know how to play Puyo Puyo, you can set up like 2, 3, 4 chains and just really screw up the person that you're competing with. But here, it just, even when you set up like a really good chain, it doesn't feel as satisfying. You know, maybe it's like an aesthetic thing or the way the blocks go away. Like, I don't get that same feel good thing clearing a block the same way I do in some other puzzle games. Like before this, for some reason, I was playing a bunch of columns, like playing all the different versions of columns. I even downloaded the arcade ROM for Columns 2. So I was always like, where the heck's Columns 2, man? And played that a bit. And what I like is that Columns is really simple. You know, like you have your row of 3 diamonds or gems. You can shift them around. You set up combos of 3 in any direction. Like, it's super simple. Like, it feels rigid because it doesn't flow as well as Tetris, but it has its own flow that you get into. But like, I don't know. I feel like with Tripped, I don't hate the game at all, but I just feel like I never got into the rhythm or the flow of it the way a lot of really good puzzle games get into that feel. Like, say, like Panel de Pawn. I could play Panel de Pawn. Once I start playing that, I could play that for 18 hours straight, because you just get so hooked into like that kind of game. Whereas with Tripped, I put a couple hours into it, but I just never got that kind of satisfaction that you get from playing other puzzle games.
Go on, Aaron.
I was gonna say, what I like about Puyo Puyo that Tripped for sure doesn't have is like the cool audio cues to let you know that you've done something cool. Like Puyo Puyo, when you clear out like a big combo, or just when you drop Puyo Puyos or anything like that, they have those cool little or hang on, let me do it again. Sound, like a drop sound.
And I like in Puyo sound. When you connect or when they're close to each other, they like merge together. Yeah. So it's an easy visual cue to keep track of where you are as well. Whereas with this, they don't do that. So you just kind of have to look around and be like, where's like, okay, they're there. You have to think about it a little bit more. It's not like this. Tripped isn't as instinctual as I think puzzle games should be, because puzzle games eventually they just should be instinct. You know, like once you know the rules, it's like muscle memory kind of a thing. Yeah. Whereas Tripped, I think you can probably get there, but I think it takes a longer time.
I found that like there are audio cues in Tripped, but they seem to be more random than actually helpful. Like a lot of everything in Tripped seems to just be random for the sake of being random. Because like whenever the blocks would merge into like a big block, it would make some weird like goofy sound. Like I think the orange ones will turn into a cat, and it will be like meow, and then it will just kind of go away.
Yeah, when they
slime alien thing.
Yeah, like when they merge together as a block, they all say something kind of Japanesey, you know. And I think they have a name, I believe. They're called, according to Wikipedia, Deowns, DEOW''NZ. Deowns.
Yeah, I don't.
Sounds like a 90s way of saying you have Down syndrome.
Downs.
Very. Ugh.
Oh, that sounds like an anime thing. I can't think of the anime off the top of my head, but yeah, that's
Also, this manual is useless. I'm just kidding.
Really doesn't.
I mean, it gives you a wonderful photo of of the man himself there.
oh hell yeah.
God. Is that
Thank
like a putting flag on his head?
It looks like it's a photoshopped like top knot that's really tiny.
The 90s.
I don't think that's his actual hair either.
Yeah, because also like the aesthetic of this game is very like wacky, goofy Nickelodeon 90s. You know what I mean? The I think it's been termed before more like commercial surrealism.
Like
It's like it's trying to be wacky,
Like the
but
slime on the title screen. It's just
like
yeah,
but this is just like annoying to read, and it's not
how to
really
destroy
helpful.
big Downs. It's right there.
Yeah. The manual is just as trollish as like the game kind of is. One of the enemies is called Hawken, which I'm also assuming is a reference to Trip Hawkins.
Not Hawktua, not the Hawktua girl.
No,
God damn,
I
I'm
don't.
so
I don't even
tired.
know if she was alive at the time this game was.
Probably not.
I do enjoy though that he put the little heads of all the people who made this game in the corner.
Yeah, see again, all that shit. It's just like being wacky to be wacky, which was the 90s. You know, there's so much
That's
of that,
true.
and it hasn't aged very well. You know, but like as
No.
I said before, like Kenji Eno was kind of like ahead of his time. Like if he was doing that shit now, I think people would like it.
Probably.
But they'd like it in like a 90s ironic way. You know?
Ooh, the Japanese PS2 or not PS2, Japanese PlayStation release has a really cool cover art.
I
That's
like it.
about it.
I like it a little bit more.
Yeah.
A little bit more though. Like it has kind of that claymation look to it.
Yeah. It's yeah, man. That's the level design, if you want to call it that, for Tripped is like kind of almost cool, but it's really samey too. Like you have like the space one at first, and then I didn't make it very far, listeners. I didn't make it very far at all because my game kept freezing. I would pause it for life, like life would happen. I had to pause, and then the game would freeze.
The life that our video watchers saw probably.
Yeah, exactly. And now I gotta let this fucking cat out. Continue. Are you kidding me, Petrie? Come on.
I was gonna say though, like I had one match go for literally 2 hours because it just wouldn't end. Like,
because like how do you? Because I didn't do the one player versus CPU like battle mode. So like, how do you fuck with the other player?
It's kind of like a Mean Bean, only not nearly as intense. It's kind of more just like you get combos and it makes things more dramatic on their side.
Okay.
Does it drop like garbage blocks on the enemy side or something?
Not really garbage blocks. It was kind of more just like regular blocks, kind of like the green block.
That's fucking useless.
That's lame. They can just clear that shit out. Like,
yeah.
Match green blocks to get green. That's the point.
Yeah,
of the blocks.
like
son of a bitch.
Like if you guys remember the, was it like the falling ball puzzle game in Clubhouse, like the Clubhouse 51 games on Switch? There's like that falling ball puzzle. You know, like you can make like just like random balls fall. You know, if you do like say the pyramid or whatever, right? But that game is set up more to where like that can fuck with you. Whereas with this, I don't think they would fuck with you. With how slow the game is, it seems like it'd be really easy to accommodate. Like just do the garbage blocks like Mean Bean Machine or Puyo Puyo, and then when you make combos, if it's there, they just go away.
Yeah.
So for my 2 hour playthrough was in the single player mode, and it wouldn't end. Like I just could not, like I wasn't gonna like force it to end by like fucking up intentionally, but like just kept going. I got all the way up to level like 89 before I finally fucked up.
Shit.
No.
I was like, it won't end. And it was that same song over and over for the entire time, with the occasional like the danger song would come up every now and then.
I will say the music's not bad in this game.
No, it's really trippy.
Yeah.
Appropriately so.
Yeah. I mean, a key ingredient for a puzzle game is music. Like you have to be able to enjoy the music. So, and I think it's enjoyable, but yeah, like as you said, it's kind of wacky, which fits with the whole game. But yeah, I couldn't imagine listening to one of these songs on a 2-3 hour loop. I'd probably lose my mind.
So the song that plays I think the songs are randomized. Like every time you lose, it switches to a different one. But I believe the first song that always plays is the Earth theme, which is the one that's probably the most iconic. That one just gets like really goofy and like Earthboundy-ish at times.
I do like that song.
There's also the water theme and the fire theme, I want to say. And they're both also good. There's also like menu themes and stuff. And Thrak, you would mention there's the music mode as well.
Yes, there's a mode. If you go, I think it's in the options. It's called Trip and Dance. And they just added it in where basically each button on the controller responds to like, say like one's like a bass drum, one's a snare drum, one's like a sound effect or whatever. And it's essentially you just try to make music with it, and each button corresponds to also like a visual cue. So you can kind of like, even with me who has like decent rhythm, it's hard to kind of get that decent rhythm while playing with like a video game controller. You know, like I could do a very simple beat, but anything more, you know, I couldn't do like paradiddles on this or anything like that. So, but it's something that honestly, it's like you put it in front of a kid and they would probably have fun with it for like 10-15 minutes and then that'd probably be it. But, you know, it was something to be like, that's kind of weird. Like there's for some reason a dude that's like a cleaver in the back of his head as like a, a visual thing. There's a lot of weird imagery in this game. Like I mentioned the wackiness. For some reason, there's a lot of like there's like dudes with like blood coming out of their nose and like guys getting like chopped in the back of the head. Very weird.
The fail screen when you lose when you finally like fuck up a match is literally like the cleaver in the back of the head. It's like what? I was like, okay, that's
like have they sneaked this past the ESRB, which I don't think was a thing yet.
No,
maybe it was. I don't know, because the long box has it as a 12.
Yep, 3DO's weird rating system.
Yeah, so even they got it past the 3DO somehow. But
one of the levels is like levels or frame, whatever the fuck you want to call it. One of the frames is like it looks like just a system of intestines and like organs, and you have this dude on the bottom with his like, I guess like his muscles and his brain and shit on the bottom. Like that's pretty cool.
Shitting at his doo-doo ass.
Doo-doo ass.
It's like it is a very serviceable puzzler that like works at everything it does, and I think its main appeal is just the fact that it's fucking weird.
Yeah.
That being said, though,
appropriately named.
Yeah, it is. Trip Hawkins, I knew it.
Apparently, there was a sequel to this.
There was also on 3DO, apparently.
Yeah, called Flopon World, but it was Japanese only.
Yes.
And apparently somebody asked Eno when he was still alive if he would have brought it to like the DS or the Wii or whatever, and he just said nah.
Nah, fam.
He just said nah. Because this is a kind of game that's like, you know, puzzle games tend to work better on like handheld devices, right? So it's like you almost think if they made this like say like a Game Boy Color game, you know, would it work in that sense? I don't know if it would.
I mean, I'd play this on like a mobile phone.
Sure.
Flopon World looks kind of cool. Looks like the exact same fucking game, but like it's got some cooler background visuals. Like there's one when you're in space and you're shooting at, or not shooting, maybe you are shooting. There's like one of those like symbol monkeys going like this, and you're shooting at him. I don't know.
So this is kind of funny. Eno's exact response to Tripped on DS or WiiWare was literally his response was, "Not really. I have no interest in my own past, like what I did in the past, what sold, how much, and so on. Instead of working on something I did in the past, I would rather be working on something new. I want to move forward."
But at that point, he wasn't making new games anyway.
No, like
Like
literally,
wasn't the last game he made was what, D2 on the fucking Dreamcast?
so sort of. There was this WiiWare game called You, Me, and the Cubes, which came out, I believe, after he died, but he had still worked on it. I think.
Sure.
No, he was still alive when it came out.
Yeah, he died in 2013.
Yeah. Yeah, because Warp.
This looks cool.
So Warp ended up changing their name to Super Warp later on, and then later from yellow to orange, and apparently they're still around. They're still a thing. Apparently, they haven't done anything since 2009, but they never officially closed.
Well, maybe they'll rebrand themselves as a Warp 64.
That'd be fucking sweet.
Warp Cube.
Warp Cube.
Warp U.
Warp EU.
Warp Helper. I don't know. Hamburger Warp.
Betty Crocker save Warp.
Betty Warper.
Betty Warper. So reception-wise,
me and the Hamburger Helper.
So reception-wise for this game, it was very down the middle.
Yeah, that feels right.
The most critics found the game mediocre. GamePro gave it a 10 out of 20. Next Generation, 2 stars. 3DO Magazine, 3 stars. The best was Video Games gave it 8 out of 10.
Video games.
Yeah.
I was thinking that too.
Other than that, though, it was pretty much one of those games where people are just kind of like, it's a game. It exists.
Yeah, it's fine, I guess. I mean, eventually when we play all the 3DO puzzlers, we'll have to determine which is the best one. Maybe we should say it right now. Is this better or worse than that Mahjong game?
I don't think so. Well, I guess that doesn't answer the question. No, it's not. Mahjong has like a pretty decent amount of strategy required, but this game just doesn't.
Mahjong definitely challenges my brain more than this game, I will say. Both have really catchy soundtracks, so there's that, I guess.
Kinda, yeah. I would say that, yeah, Shanghai's probably the better game, but I think I'd rather play this just because it's much more appealing to look at.
And it's more visually stimulating by far.
Yeah, maybe that's why.
I could at least get the Mahjong to work.
Yeah.
It's also a lot
I could listen to that Earth theme for a little bit, you know.
True.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, pop that on and be like, all right, now we're good.
So I guess the real question before we wrap up is it a must play, okay, or stay away? It's definitely not a stay away, but I don't really I also don't want to call it a must play because it's not an amazing puzzle game by any means. I'm gonna say this one is a solid okay.
Yeah, like it's a shame that there's so many puzzle games, but so few of them are actually any good. They're like horror movies. You know, there's like 3 million of them, and only like 13 of them are actually worth your time. So
I'm going to assume that's an okay from you as well, Aaron.
I'm a hard okay.
Yeah, I'm also hard okay. It was
hard okay.
Like, yeah, if I had the choice between Tripped and any other puzzle game on the planet, I'd pick other puzzle games. It's not offensive. It's not bad. It's just like on the border.
It's no Incredible Machine, which I think is still my number one 3DO game.
In terms of puzzlers, that is definitely the best puzzle game on 3DO so far.
Yeah, it depends. It might depend on where you put Icebreaker.
Yeah, that one's
a puzzle or not.
That's
a better game than this. That's easily a better game than this, though.
Oh, I'd play Icebreaker over this any day.
Oh, easy. The
Dudemeyer. That's where the Dudemeyer came from.
Praise the Dudemeyer.
But yeah, so very much an okay all around. Like, honestly, this game is more interesting just for the weirdness about it. And like, honestly, Kenji Eno himself is more interesting than this game.
Yeah. It's better than D. I can safely say that.
D has aged like milk.
like strawberry milk.
Ugh.
Especially. Yeah. So eventually we have to do like Enemy Zero and D2 to kind of wrap up our Kenji Eno saga.
Maybe talk about Real Sound or listen to it anyways.
Or we could talk about Sega Rally 2.
Oh yeah, he did music for that. I always forget about that.
Yeah. I could play a Sega Rally game, no problem.
Yeah, that's the best game he worked on.
Fuck yeah.
But yeah, so before we wrap up, I want to let Aaron just shout out anything you'd like to shout out.
Well, yeah, SuperPod Network, of course, superpodnetwork.com. All of my shows are there. It feels really weird to say. SuperPod Saga, Retro Rehab, they're both there. All of Bill's shows are there too, man. You got GNC, you got 3DO Experience, Geek Addicts, you got so many cool shows there. Our sweet blog, a bunch of different videos that everybody puts out. Or you can just listen to SuperPod Saga wherever the fuck you listen to podcasts, because we do different topic with different guests every week. And that's it. That's me.
Nice. And thanks for joining us.
And buy me a snow cone. Sorry, go ahead.
Thanks for joining us on this one, Aaron. We'll definitely have you back at some point. Next time.
Absolutely.
Next game you want to talk about.
We'll do what was it, like the bubble game? What was it called?
Bubble game. Huh.
Or Bust a Move.
Bust
there's Bust a Move on the 3DO?
There is a Bust a Move on 3DO.
Oh, damn. I got to find that.
I'm down for that. Yes.
But also, just a PSA for anybody who is in the community and would like to guest. If you have a game you want to talk about that we haven't covered yet, just shout us out. We're like down to have anyone on to talk about these games. So
if you want us to talk Lucien's Quest that badly, just come on.
I think Chris already has that one reserved.
Yeah, but who knows whenever the fuck he's gonna come back, you know?
He's too busy selling shit.
Yeah, I'll be like, Chris, why have you come on 3DO? And he'll be like, oh, Carradine. I'm like, we don't need her for that, dude.
Yeah.
Me and him, we have to talk Halo. Like, goddamn it, we finished Halo months ago, and we still haven't talked about it.
Me and him still have to talk about Tales of the Abyss as well.
And then I saw that there was some Tales news, and there's Tales of Zillia. Like, fuck. which was like cool. And then we're like Abyss fans. I think Chris said if it was a combination of Zillia 1 and 2, he'd be down. But I don't think they would throw both of those in one. I don't think they would.
No, it's Bamco. They're not going to put effort into it.
Is Zillia 1 actually worth playing?
Yeah, it's a good one.
Okay.
It's like Vesperia, only I think the gameplay is better.
Okay.
That being said, though, guys, once again, thanks for joining us on the 3DO Experience. You can find the 3DO Experience on all the major podcasting platforms. And be sure to check us out on the SuperPod Network. Let's see if I can get all the shows this time. So obviously, we've already said SuperPod Saga, Super Ghost Radio, Retro Rehab, all the GNC shows. Remember 64, Tommy's Video Game Road Trip, Gaming Together, Fine Time, Friday Night Gamecast, The Elder Trolls, and Bar Silence.
Did you get Novel Console?
He did not.
Right.
Oh,
we were just talking about him too.
Yeah, I always forget one. Well, I mean, you guys implied that show doesn't exist at the moment.
I mean, that show's been on hiatus for months now. My Mondays are terrible. I used to listen to him every Monday, and it was great. And he's been MIA for over 2 months now.
I always forget one. I did get Tommy's name right this time, though.
Tommy's Video Game Ride Along.
Close enough.
I got it
close enough.
Never mind. Sorry, Tommy.
He doesn't listen to this.
He doesn't care.
No, he doesn't. But yeah, you can find all of that wonderful stuff over at the SuperPod Network. And you can find all of our links at linktree/thebarberwhogames. And until next time, guys, we will see you all later.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
If you're not playing on a 3DO system, are you playing with?